Special Envoy Hans Grunberg visits Japan to push for peace efforts in Yemen. Houthi-laid mines continue to claim lives of Yemenis nationwide. The United Nations marks the International Day of Peacekeepers for 2023. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news with me, Shazad Delbey. The UN Special Envoy for Yemen, Hans Grunberg, visited Tokyo and discussed with Japanese officials ways to support peace efforts in Yemen. According to the statement of the Office of the Special Envoy, the meeting addressed the ongoing efforts to support the parties in Yemen in reaching an agreement on a nationwide ceasefire and the resumption of comprehensive political process under UN auspices. Grunberg thanked Japan for its support of the United Nations truce efforts and humanitarian response in Yemen and the important role it plays in the Security Council. He stressed the need to maintain and intensify international help for a sustainable political settlement that ensures a future of durable peace and development in Yemen. The United Nations warned that all territories under Yemeni government control to face high levels of food insecurity. The report also showed that in the period between January and May 2023, about 3.2 million people have suffered from high levels of food insecurity as they were classified severe food insecure areas. The United Nations Central Emergency Response Fund announced that it will allocate $18 million to the urgent needs of the people affected by humanitarian crisis in Yemen. This report has more details.
The Central Emergency Response Fund allocates $18 million for the urgent needs of people affected by humanitarian crisis in Yemen. In March 2023, the Undersecretary General and Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths approved the allocation of $18 million to Yemen from the Central Emergency Response Fund in order to prevent famine and address rising levels of food insecurity driven by conflict, economic shocks, and climate change. This allocation will provide a comprehensive and integrated package of services and multi-sector interventions, using the Integrated Famine Risk Reduction Mechanism for both in-kind and multi-purpose cash assistance to reduce the rising levels of acute malnutrition and address food insecurity in Yemen. In 2023, the humanitarian crisis will affect 17.3 million people. More recently, evidence from the IPC analysis conducted in March 2023 for districts under the control of the government of Yemen indicates that some areas continue to experience high food insecurity while overall acute malnutrition has increased. The recent SMART survey shows that more than two-thirds of infants and young children under the age of 2 years are not appropriately nourished and cared for, which solidifies the ground for increasing acute and chronic malnutrition among children under the age of 5 years. The humanitarian response in Yemen continues to be severely underfunded, depriving thousands of people of vital humanitarian assistance. As of the end of May 2023, the Yemen Humanitarian Response Plan is only 23.5% funded. David Grassley, the humanitarian coordinator in Yemen, stated that this allocation will support the people most in need in 3 governorates of Hajjah, El Hodeidah, and Taz, which are the most vulnerable and affected by both food insecurity and acute malnutrition. In order to improve timely access to vulnerable populations and to ensure the sustainability of humanitarian assistance, the concerned agencies will work in close collaboration with national NGOs, which have better access to hard-to-reach areas. This planned response approach will deliver tangible results that will be measured through joint monitoring and successful implementation used to leverage additional funding from other donors.
Masan Project for the Mining announced that 875 mines were dismantled in the last week of May. The project added that the total number of mines that were cleared since the beginning of this month reached 4,000. A UN report revealed that 121 civilian casualties were caused by the explosion of landmines and unexploded ordnance in Yemen in the first quarter of this year. According to the report, half of the victims fell in Hodeidah, Al Jawf, and Ma'rib. This report has more details.
A United Nations report revealed that 121 civilian casualties were caused by the explosion of landmines and unexploded ordnance in Yemen during the first quarter of this year. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs (OCHA) said half of the victims fell in Hodeidah, while Al Jauf Governorate came second with 19 victims and Ma'rib Governorate ranked third in the number of victims with 8 cases. OCHA indicated that the causes of casualties in Hodeidah came as a result of the return of civilians to their areas contaminated with mines after the calm in hostilities, while the heavy rains and torrential rains were the reason for washing away the explosive devices and their explosion among civilians. The report stated that during the ongoing conflict in Yemen, large areas of the country have been contaminated with millions of landmines and explosive remnants of war, making many residential neighborhoods uninhabitable or dangerous. The United Nations emphasized the urgent need for mine action activities at the national level, including mine clearance, mine rescue education, and victim assistance. The terrorist Houthi militia is the only party involved in planting mines in Yemen, and according to official and human rights reports, the militia has planted more than 2 million mines of various shapes and sizes in vast areas of Yemen. These mines have killed and injured thousands of civilians, most of them children and women, while large areas are still contaminated and pose a threat to civilians for years to come, according to government and human rights reports.
Human rights activists confirmed that the Houthi militia is behind the kidnapping of children in Damar. Local sources in Damar revealed that 5 cases of disappearance of children between the ages of 7 and 16 were recorded in separate neighborhoods and streets last April. The sources added that the Houthi leaders are behind the spread of kidnapping crimes as they recruit those children and send them to military fronts. Government forces defended a Houthi infiltration attempt in Yafa front in Lahj. A military source confirmed that the militia tried to infiltrate, but were confronted by the government forces. The source added that the confrontations between the 2 sides resulted in the death of 3 soldiers and the injuring of 3 others from the government forces. The United Nations marks today, 29 May, as the International Day of Peacekeepers. On this occasion, more than 4,000 military, police, and civilians who have given their lives for the cause of peace and recovery are being honored by the UN. For his part, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken welcomed the service and sacrifices of more than 1 million men and women from 125 countries who have served in UN peacekeeping missions around the world. Coming next in the news. Looted Yemeni artifacts are auctioned off in the United States. Welcome back. Smuggled Yemeni antiquities are sold at auctions in a number of countries around the world, especially Britain and the United States of America. This report has more details.
A Yemeni researcher specializing in antiquities and ancient manuscripts revealed that a Yemeni artifact was sold at auction in the United States of America last Friday at a value of more than $4,000. The researcher suggested that the artifact offered for sale may be the same one that the Yemeni government retrieved from among 3 artifacts that were returned to Yemen from USA at a value of $1,000. He also mentioned that less than 30 days separate the Manhattan District Attorney's announcement of the return of 3 artifacts worth $725 to the Yemeni people on April 29, and the sale of an artifact similar to one of the returned pieces at Hindman's auction in the United States. He added that the returned piece, according to the description of the Manhattan District Attorney's statement, is an alabaster ram with an engraved base. The alabaster ram dates back to the 5th century, and it is a funerary piece found in the tomb of Shabwa. It was looted from the cemetery in 1994 during the outbreak of the Yemeni civil war, and it appeared for the first time on the market in London. The alabaster ram was seized from an apartment in Manhattan by the Antiquities Trafficking Unit in January 2023. He explained that the piece sold at Hindman's auction last Friday was an alabaster robe from the 1st century that he acquired from the art market in New York in the 90s of the last century. The researcher pointed out that the auction's real surprise lies in its inability to sell an abstract statue of a man's head from Sheba, which experts described as an impressive head, which is an exceptional example of its kind, both in terms of the quality of its execution and its large size. Since the Houthi militia took control of the state by force of arms, many of Yemen's antiquities and museums have been looted and stolen, some of which have been smuggled abroad and sold through a mafia linked to the Houthi militia.
The Houthi militia dismissed a number of employees of the University of Science and Technology branch in Sana'a. Academic sources said that the militia removed employees of the university and gradually replaces them with Houthi affiliates. American sources confirmed that drug smuggling from Iran to Houthi militia in Yemen exceeded $1 billion last year. Media sources confirmed that in the past months, the Houthis obtained equipment to build factories for the production of Captagon in the areas of control, and they are working to smuggle drugs into the region.
طبعا الزراعة هي في محافظة لحج هي تعتبر كانت المصدر الأساسي والرئيسي في سبل العيش. الانخفاض القوي دائما يكون في أمطار كثيرة وغزيرة فيسبب إنه يقول لك يكون في يقلل من الزراعة أو إن أحيانا نلغي الموسم بشكل عام. محافظة لحج طبعا كانت بشكل عام كانت سابقا تعتمد على يمكن 80% زراعة، إنما الآن ممكن تقول يمكن 30% الجفاف، أحيانا الأمطار والسيول تؤدي، أحيانا ونشوف المشكلة يعني، وبعد كذا نحاول إن نجلس مع كل طرف لحاله، وبعدين نتكلم معهم مع بعض ونقوم نحل النزاع هذا ونوعي الناس إن الزراعة هي مفيدة للآخر ولو بمبلغ بسيط. تمثل الأم والأخت والزوجة والنساء يجب عليهم أن يكونوا هم القدوة الحسنة في تغيير المجتمع بشكل عام.
Lahj is the first Yemeni region to grow mangoes in Yemen. Its cultivation was known more than 200 years ago. This report has more details.
As summer approaches, Yemenis look for sources of refreshment to combat the heat. Luckily, mangoes are one of the seasonal fruits that are produced and cultivated in abundance in the country. Due to its wonderful taste and high nutritional value, the mango fruit in Lahj Governorate is considered one of the most important agricultural products. Saddam, a farmer in Wadi Tabn, begins the season of harvesting mango during the summer, yielding up to 18 different varieties of the fruit.
Mango trees date back to 150 to 200 years. In Lahj, the trees have a high life expectancy, unlike in Hodeidah and Abyan provinces and other mountainous regions. The trees here are also massive and have a high production output.
The harvest season of mango fruit begins in the Husseini Valley in the governorate of Lahj in southern Yemen. Mangoes were initially grown in the province when the sultans introduced them from India to increase Yemen's agricultural output 2 centuries ago.
Lahj is well known first and foremost for the quality of its soil, which produces sturdy roots and plentiful trees. Healthy soil is the biggest factor in ensuring the growth of healthy trees. Mango crops trickled into Lahj from India a long time ago and have become characteristic of the governorate. Those traveling to other provinces often do pit stops to purchase mangoes. The fruits are under very high demand this season.
Mango is not only delicious but also boasts an impressive nutritional profile. They may improve immunity, reduce the risk of different types of cancer, enhance digestive health, reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases, improve digestion, and enhance vision.
Responsible sources in the Yemeni government confirmed that financial revenues have declined significantly recently. This comes in a difficult stage in which the government seeks to continue implementing the economic reforms program and the sustainability of public finances, according to the sources. For its part, the Central Bank of Yemen in Aden confirms that Houthis are carrying out destructive measures against the financial and banking sector under different names, through which it seeks to uproot national financial institutions. Here's a reminder of the main headlines. Special Envoy Hans Grunberg visits Japan to push for peace efforts in Yemen. Houthi-laid mines continue to claim lives of Yemenis nationwide. The UN marks the International Day of Peacekeepers for 2023. This is the end of the news with Shazad Al-Ba'i. Thank you for watching.